And on top of it, we have got a whole lot of mobile internet users, which are growing at a rate of excess of 50% per year. You'll be surprised that the mobile internet usage has already crossed over PC-based internet user in this country last year. So we have more mobile user downloading songs, videos, acquiring network sites like Twitter, Facebook. The communication between each other is becoming better. So why not take advantage of those technologies and bringing it into trade with far more firmer policy mandate and make it possible to sell directly to the consumer, taking away all the intermediate cost in between, which makes the goods much cheaper, and also allows a customer to go over several suppliers and choose the one he wants. And here I would like to introduce the concept of what is called virtual bidding. A virtual bidding is nothing but a virtual auction. Very unfortunately, in India, we do not have much experience with auction, whereas most of the developed economy use this very normally. What we see as an auction is on our sites, which give you 24-hour window to bid for a good. You may be a winner or you keep on increasing your bid. But a step ahead of this is a virtual bidding where auction takes place as if it is a physical auction. You have to bid against unknown people, and then you win, and you can win at a price which may not be possible in a showroom because of all the inefficiencies taken away. Today, if you look at the way goods gets priced, there's a lot of price between logistics, supply chain, a huge amount of money wasted in stocking, inventories, and of course, at every stage there is a transaction, keeping or increasing the cost step by step. That makes the goods very, very expensive. We all use smartphones. We all are habitual of using internet, and that is the kind of technology which can really transform the trade in India. I would like to share with you Copart's experience. Copart is a Dallas, US-based company which handles something which we will never think is viable to be sold. We handle salvage. What's salvage? Have you ever wondered what happens to your car when you trade it in with a garage for a new, spanky, bigger, more expensive automobile or a motorcycle? Have you ever wondered what happens to the car when it meets with an accident on E-way and insurance calls it total loss? We do not have in India a matured scrapping policy. That's why we are not bothered. We also do not have a matured methodology of disposal. That's why we are not bothered. That's where Copart stepped into US and Canada a long time ago in 1982. We pick up salvaged vehicles, which are end of the value chain, practically no value. And we sell them using virtual portals, bringing a lot of value to the owners of those vehicles in India, whereas the model is slightly different in Europe and USA, to the insurance companies who are liable for keeping that salvage with them. Copart uses facilities, low-cost facilities outside the city to store all these vehicles which come from insurance companies, fleet operators, owners, banks which repossess vehicle when the loan goes sour, and we then photograph it in an appropriate and prefixed manner, put it on our site, and there is an auction being held practically every day. Copart has 162 sites across US and Canada and UK. We are present in US, Canada, UK, GCC, which is Middle East, Germany, Brazil, and now in India. We have used industry-changing technology by introducing what is called virtual bidding 2 model, which is a totally internet-based model gives you the happiness of actually attending a virtual auction. You will be wondering who purchases these cars. There's a lot of market for these cars who get scrapped. There's a lot of market for motorcycles who get scrapped. Because there are people who are remodelers, there are people who sell spare parts on the internet and otherwise in the showrooms. There are fleet operators who want to repair the car. But more than that, when the global boundaries break down, there's a lot of countries who do not have regulations about certain type of damages where the cars get imported and used after doing the necessary repairs, especially safety-related repairs. So Copart expanded the user base, or the buyer base, to practically 100,000 users across the globe. And it's already increasing. Copart today sells more than 1.6 million cars a year with a total turnover of $4 billion US. And we sell these cars using the high-end technology. We introduced a new model of technology in January this year, whereby a buyer, an interested buyer, can use his smartphone, iPhone or an iPad or a tablet to bid online without even bothering to get onto his office or home. So we bring the technology upfront to the user, to the consumer, making it easy for him to purchase goods as and where they want. But the same technology can be implemented not necessarily only in salvage, but also handling the way the retail happens in this country. We already see a bit of this being used very successfully of some of the travel portals. I am sure most of us, most of you, must be going to some of these travel sites like yatra.com before you purchase your tickets, before you purchase your hotel. Because you want to see the price which is the best price for you. You want to see the conditions which meet your requirements. And then you do a purchase. So over-the-counter sale of tickets have practically stopped. And most of the tickets get bought by travelers and by users on virtual sites. But this has not happened to retail trade. It has not happened to goods and services. And that's where the opportunity lies. Our endeavor would be that we not only use this for salvage in this country, but it will also allow and develop partnership with other companies which want to use this high-end technology to also handle trade, mostly in retail, both FMCG and not FMCG, to really move the business from end of showrooms where the costs are high, where one has to travel, use the infrastructure which is already very, very overloaded, and make it a happy shopping experience. We will also introduce the system of virtual bidding, which gives a user a pleasure of attending like a physical auction and try to get the best price. We are very sure with our experience across the globe, such technologies are going to bring in a revolution in the way we actually do business in India. And that's what we need in this country. Because I do not think so that we are going to see many monorails, many metros, or bigger highways, or overhead bridges coming up in near future. There is no money, there is no space, and more than that, as Mr. Gandhi said, there is a lack of will or focus. I'm very sure with the change which is happening slowly in political arena, the focus will be far more higher in developing our infrastructure. But we still have to work, we still have to move, we still have to make sure that our economy keeps on ticking. And one of the ways is going to be virtual space, and I'm sure with the new focus which government is showing in this area, things will be smoother, better, and happier for all of us. Thank you very much.
Well, friends, as I mentioned to you, in spite of being the managing director of a large automobile conglomerate, you have entirely looked at the future And you have opened up many vistas mentally for us because we didn't even imagine. As a layman, I never imagined this kind of a thing would happen. And I'm thrilled to my bones that, it's opening up a completely new option to each and every one of us, irrespective of what we do, where we stand. So from automobiles to the other side of the automobile, sir, it has been wonderful listening to you. Please hold on. Mr. Satya Brahma, kindly do the honors. Yeah, take care. Friends, let's move on. I now have the pleasure and privilege of requesting Dr. Lalit Surajmal Kanodia to come over, please. Or if you would like to wait till I finish your introduction, that's fine. The choice is yours. Yeah. Okay. Well, it may take a little time because there is a very impressive and reasonably longish CV that I have read out to you. Dr. Lalit Kanodia is the chairman of Datamatics Global Services Limited. He has a degree in mechanical engineer from IIT Mumbai. Subsequently, he obtained an MBA and PhD both from MIT, the one and only MIT in the whole world. That's very impressive, sir. And he was a topper in both these institutes, all the more so. Dr. Kanodia is a Ford Foundation Fellow. He received the Distinguished Alumnus Award of IIT Mumbai. He is one of the 10 persons included in the Hall of Fame published by DataQuest along with late J.R.D. Tata and our late Prime Minister Rajeev Gandhi. I think that deserves an applause right away. Yeah, thank you. He has served as president of the Management Consultants Association of India and chairman of the Electronic and Computer Software Export Promotion Council of the Western region. He is the past president of the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce, Western India. He is chairman of the IT Committee of Indian Merchants Chamber. He has been a member of the executive committee of NASSCOM. He has also served on various committees in the Government of India and the state of Maharashtra. He has been invited to deliver the convocation address to graduating MBA students by 4 institutes and was the main speaker at the Itoku, I hope I'm pronouncing it all right, annual conference in Japan. Dr. Kanodia is currently on the executive board of MIT, Europe, Asia, and Africa. He is the founder CEO of TCS. While in the US, he was consultant to the Ford Motor Company and Arthur D. Little. He also taught at MIT, where he studied. He founded Datamatics in 1975, and last but not the least, he is the Honorary Consul General of Chile in India. I think that'll more than amply describe what he is, and I'm sure you'll be benefited by his thoughts. Sir. Thank you very much.
Mr. Satya Brahma, fellow speakers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a privilege to address this august gathering today. Software, unlike the environment around us, which you've heard a few minutes ago, is still shining. The software scene in India is very vibrant, and software continues to do well despite the international doom and gloom that you hear of every day. As you probably know, the largest exporting sector from India is software, and last year, India exported $77 billion worth of software from this country to around the world. The forecast is that this year that figure will be close to $90 billion. NASSCOM has predicted that this sector, the IT sector, it had earlier predicted would go to $200 billion by 2020. It now revised upwards to $300 billion. And therefore, you can see how important this sector is to the Indian economy as large. Now, I'm going to talk about two things, which is the importance of IT in the context of a current account deficit and the importance of IT when it comes to alleviation of poverty from this country. Talking of the current account deficit, which is the difference between the exports and imports, as you know, last year the deficit was about $190 billion, which is more than 10% of our GDP. And this year, the current financial that we are in, the prediction is will certainly exceed $200 billion. So I think we are in a disaster area, and we need to do something about that as rapidly as possible. And we don't seem to be able to find the solution. The finance minister thought that the price of gold had gone down, therefore our imports of gold would go down, but that's not happened. Because the price fell down, the imports increased, in fact, because it's cheaper to import gold. So the fact of the matter is that the current account deficit, which was highlighted by the finance minister even in the last budget speech, continues to remain a problem with no solution in sight. And software is, of course, one solution that can to some extent alleviate this problem. You must understand one thing when you talk of, my subject is Obama and what we are going to do to counter Obama, who